Welcome in. A little bit different look here on I guess, what is this, a Sunday night?
It's a Sunday night. It's been
Ralph,
a long day for
It's
you.
been a long day. It's been a long past 48 hours as we get ready to talk about Week 7 of college football. My name is Bryce Koon. That is Ralph Leary. We're in the same spot. Will is about, 6 hours west of us, 6.5 hours west. Will, can you hear us at least?
I can, loud and clear.
Loud and clear here on a Sunday night. Welcome in. I'm not even gonna ask you how you're doing.
Esophagus.
Well, I did say that all that has breath, let it praise the Lord. And Ralph is all that has breath, and he's praised the Lord this morning. So that's where we're at with that. But welcome in.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
From friendly confines of my kitchen.
Let me just say one thing, y'all. Bryce is exhausted. He's been hangry and aggravated all day.
Almost got killed in Wingstop.
He almost got killed in Wingstop. Incredible situation in Wingstop today. But yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, just crazy, man. We've got a fun, action-packed show for you. Will might even get some theme music tonight. We don't quite know what that'll look like.
You got the bleep button ready. I texted you to
we don't have one.
You got it ready.
There's not one ready, buddy.
There's not one ready. So this is not quite safe for work, but it could be after dark.
Well, it's not family friendly, that's for sure.
I don't think this show's ever been family friendly.
Being stupid, so about to need the bleep button for that. I don't know what's going on.
Well, look, the setup over here is very very run down.
It's very I don't want to say it's bad. Let's bring this up a little bit. But it's definitely something where we're sitting here talking from my kitchen table because we don't have the utmost podcast space to get us in here. So we appreciate it. Someone get these guys calling play-by-play. They're ready. Zach, we could do it. We definitely could do that. Let's lock it in, though. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you continue to drive those numbers up. We appreciate everyone tuning in here on a Sunday evening. College football week 7, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to cover. James Franklin fired, a SEC ref show and on the Plains. Is Indiana elite? We're going to be talking about that. And then Steve Sarkisian in Texas with a win over maybe a weird decision to play John Mateer. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Though, and more on tonight's episode here of the Crowded Booth Graph. I guess it's typically what you do, so
yeah,
we're all at a source. We'll just play this song.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.
All right, welcome in. We appreciate you, Will Mannis, Ralph Leary. My name is Bryce Koon from the friendly confines of my kitchen here in Baton Rouge, all the way over to Columbus, Georgia, behind the checkers. How you doing, Will?
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day for everybody.
It's been a long night. It's been a long day.
I think
cameras want to be stupid. If Spectrum decides it doesn't want to work anymore, I mean, I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah, Zach, I agree. Embrace the chaos.
I'm glad to see Will couldn't find his pistol. That's insane.
Listen, I'm too much of a traditionalist, too old school for that. We gotta find other ways to make something like that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to continue what we were talking about there.
We can't say the word because YouTube will shut us down. So.
Yeah, shut us down immediately.
Aaron Murray and the guy, what's his name? Eric. What's the guy from the ACC network that got their channel got taken down today?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I saw that.
Did you see that? Eric McLean or whatever, the ACC former Clemson offensive lineman. Him and Aaron Murray, they've been doing a show together. 29,000 subscribers got taken down. Absolutely crazy. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's dive in though. First time conversation. Well, I already started it off. Let's talk about the biggest news of the day. Trent Dilfer's gone at UAB.
Yeah.
Hands in the chat. Hands in the chat. We don't ever wish on downfall, but that's for Maxwell Joseph's right there.
Sorry, he's a Sanford fan, not a UAB.
That's all right though. Dilfer's probably going to land on his feet about an hour west or hour east of Birmingham.
Oh God.
Well, there's just no way.
Probably what's going to happen.
Well,
it can't happen. It can't happen like that.
It can.
I mean,
it can.
He didn't win a road game in his entire time at UAB.
Why is Ralph in a button up? He's wearing a quarter zip.
It's a quarter zip. What do you mean?
That's what we're doing here. Are we clapping or calling timeouts here, guys? All right, we're going to get to that in a second.
Boy.
We're going to get that in a second. No, real quick, James Franklin, you can start it right here, Gavin. James Franklin let go at Penn State, their third straight loss. I was, in fact, doing a post-game show on the field post-game LSU South Carolina. My coworker Matthew Bruni, who I think's watching tonight, sat there and told me that proceeded to tell me that Penn State lost. I didn't know they lost. I had no clue. So shows you how much ball that I know and pay attention to. Instant reaction. Well, let's get it from you here because we're going to have time to talk about Auburn. But James Franklin getting let go 3 straight losses. This is embarrassing. It's a downfall. But man, I had someone who watches the show text me. They said Penn State better know what they're doing.
That's exactly right. Penn State better know what they're doing. The James Franklin tenure, he was one of the most longest tenured coaches in the country. 11 seasons, a little over 11 years. This was his 12th. Slow start, but man, once he got things going, year 4, 5, 6, he rattled off 3 straight 10-win seasons. I would say very successful, just could not get over the hump, couldn't beat Ohio State. Then Ohio State dips a little bit, and then here comes Michigan. You can't beat Michigan for a lot of that time. Having to be stuck in the same division of the Big Ten East with Ohio State and Michigan. Unfortunate circumstances for James Franklin. I joked about Trent Dilfer landing on his feet. I think James Franklin will most certainly land on his feet. He's a very good football coach. Very successful at Penn State. It's interesting to see. The timing is interesting. Certainly, you lose back-to-back games as a 20-point favorite is alarming. Makes you ask a lot of questions. But just 3 weeks ago, they were in overtime against the number 3 team in the country at the time in Oregon. So it's like I say, Penn State better know what they're doing because I've lived it. I've lived it. You fire a successful coach, you just can't get over the hump, and then you're in the wilderness. I don't know if y'all are going to get to this, but it sounds like they know who they're going to go after, and that's Matt Rule. Which to me,
okay. Time out. I don't want to interrupt you here because Ralph and I were talking about this today. Is Matt Rule? Clip it.
That's good.
They clip
that was
it.
Great.
That was good.
That's great.
Is Matt Rule significantly a better coach than James Franklin? And I guess we'll say here that to maybe the casual person, they'll say, yeah, James Franklin couldn't get over the hump at Penn State, and look what Matt Rule has done. He built Baylor into a contender, built Temple into a contender. Okay, that was also a decade ago. And I would also, point out the fact, and we were talking about this, you have to have a really realistic idea of who you are as a program when you let a head coach go. You can't just – so to your point, well, if they know who they're going to go after, all product to them. If it's Matt Rule, if that's number one option for them, that's – I don't see it. And maybe I'm wrong.
I don't see it either.
I don't see that. I don't see that.
What we did talk about, though, is that their schedule next year, it's very favorable for anyone to go 9-3.
Oh, have you seen it, by the way, Will? Their schedule next year?
They don't play anybody next year. So whoever they bring in is going to have a pretty easy slate to kind of make a nice opening to his career there, and then build off of that, because that's what you want. You don't want to have a first season just plunder and crash immediately. You want to have someone kind of go there and get a footing in, and then build off of that. So they, an 8-4, 9-3 season first year, under Matt Rule or whoever it might be, that's a good thing, and that's what Penn State really wants to happen, I feel like.
Adding on to that, we take a look at James Franklin, 4-21 against AP top 10 opponents, 1-14 against AP top 5, 1-10 against Ohio State, 3-7 against Michigan, $56 million buyout for his second biggest which is the second biggest in college football history. Will, you made this, right?
I did not.
Shout out Gavin making the graphic, but no.
I did not.
Will was working in Microsoft Paint today, though, making sure he understood what needed to happen. I go back to this, and Ralph was kind of showing me the updates. Penn State's already lost their entire 2027 recruiting class.
Which was only 3 guys.
Only 3 guys, but some headliner players.
5-star, 4-star, and another 4-star.
I mean, Penn State needs to know who they are. To me, they are a Tier 2 Big Ten team. That's who they have been. I go back to it, man, and you can talk about Matt Rule, and we've seen some of the other candidates. I'm calling Kurt Cignetti immediately, though. If I'm Penn State, I'm calling Cignetti, making him tell me no, because I just don't know who you go. We always like to talk about who to fire, and in some cases, and I'm sure you'll talk about this, there's reasons for it. I get why James Franklin, and we've got these stats laid out here of why it didn't work, but you better know that somebody can come in and at least do this. If somebody can at least come do this at Penn State, that's then you're okay. If not, I just don't know how long that list is.
You look at these records and your first thought is, well, that can't be hard to match. But, I mean, you got to think about it. Year in, year out, Penn State's playing the best teams in the country, not just in the Big Ten. Ohio State, Michigan, 2 of the best in the country. Early in his days there, Michigan State, BCS, New Year's Six program, year in, year out.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Rule, I guess that's going to be their first guy. You say Kurt Cignetti. Dan Mullen will certainly be in the mix for this job. Personally, selfishly, I hope Dan Mullen goes to Penn State. I don't want to have to go down that road.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy that what's the biggest buyout? $56 million. That's
the
first is Jimbo's.
Yeah, Jimbo.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
right now it'd be Kirby's if active coaches. It was $118 million. I'm pretty sure.
He's never getting fired.
I know, but they listed like the top 10, and he was number 1.
That's
crazy money.
No, but
I'd be okay getting fired.
I like seeing that buyout university down there in Alabama does not have the first or second biggest buyout in college football history. I'll take that. I'll take all the wins I can get.
Yeah.
Well, going back to this, and I know we've kind of talked about this a lot, over the past couple of weeks and everything with Penn State falling. I guess we'll come back to you here. What happens now? Because now you have a roster that does have talent. Drew Aller is out for the season. This is essentially a lame duck opportunity for whoever's going to take over. It's essentially, and not just at the head coaching position, but how do you move up the ladder? A lot like Jerry Neuheisel's doing some awesome things out there in Los Angeles. New guys are going to get opportunities to prove themselves, not just in the coaching ranks, but on the field. I think when we look at coaching changes this juncture, you're about the halfway point. So, and I know you've tweeted this or reposted this and said, if you fire a head coach, essentially like Arkansas did with Sam Pittman, you're admitting you should have done it in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
You were never going to fire James Franklin in the offseason, but if you do it now, to me, this is full-on audition for everybody. Roster, players, coaches, everyone. Maybe their future's not at Penn State and Happy Valley. Maybe it's elsewhere. I mean, is this just a lost season, essentially, for Penn State at this point? How do you recoup any value, can you?
Yeah, I think it's a lost season. I mean, we certainly got to see what the current roster, how it shakes out this week, because now the transfer portal's open for everybody on that roster. Who's going to stick around? Who's going to finish the season out? But with Penn State, with the administration, the money people pulling the plug mid-season, 3-3, they're calling this season lost. They don't care how this season ends. They're making the move right now. They know that they are the premier opening in the country, and they will be. So why wait? And why wait? Go out and be the first program that gets a shot at their first choice, whether it's Matt Rule or whoever. Penn State's the first shot, right? They're going out, they're getting aggressive. So this season, it's an audition for people to go somewhere else. But as far as Penn State's concerned, I would say that building's going to be basically empty. Probably all new coaching staff, all new backroom staff. And if I was the head coach taking over, that's what I would do. I mean, James Franklin was there 11 years. We said 11
Yeah,
seasons.
right over a decade. Yeah.
And gets fired mid-season. So something's wrong. Something's broken. That's what, from the outside, that tells me something inside that program is broken and needs to be fixed. Flush it out and start completely new. I think that's probably what we're going to see for Penn State.
I kind of want to pose a question to you guys, though. Is do you think it's because Drew Aller got hurt that he's gone? Because they just kind of scratched the entire season. Like if Aller does not get hurt, they still lose that game. Do you think they kind of keep Franklin to the end of the year? But since he's hurt, they're just like, okay, season's completely gone. Let's just go ahead and move on now. Do you think that kind of had a little play into it, though?
I don't know if we've ever seen that in college football, but we've seen that in professional sports, right. I think. When the big star player gets hurt, it helps you cut ties easier. Well, I don't know if you want to say anything on it. I will add, you did see kind of, I guess, the rumors. I don't know how much truth there is to this, that Adidas maybe played a role in this in terms of that. That is some really dangerous territory we're playing in.
Yeah.
So you talk about, obviously, your star player. I don't think he was that great of a player. I don't think a lot of people around the country thought he was that great of a player. But in terms of your figurehead, your face of the program, he goes down and gets hurt. It's going to be an uphill battle for you. Is it easier to cut ties? I don't know. Will, what do you think?
I don't know if it makes it easier, but I mean, the precedent's been set. If one of your starting players is out, that hurts you come playoff time. So if they run the table, which they certainly can, they could win their next 6 games, finish 9-3. We're talking about a playoff contender. Now, at this point in the year, they could still get in because there's enough runway, enough time to see who's behind Aller at quarterback, but it would not surprise me if they win 6 in a row and still get left out because, you don't have your starting quarterback, which is a ridiculous statement.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. No, and I think, like, to your point, Ralph, is professional sports. I think you could see that, especially in like the NBA and maybe even baseball to a certain extent. It makes you easier to part ways. Like Will said, if that's a precedent being set, though, now we talk about the professionalization of college athletics. That would be a big step in that direction.
Also, but also someone that has lived it, having a coach that raises expectations or is the most consistent at hitting expectations that you've had in a long time. Penn State could have just been fed up with it and been like, you know what? We're ready for him to go. We need somebody new. We're not going to give him the chance to save his job.
Yeah, and Northwestern just kind of being the tipping point, really. Just a pitiful performance against a team that really has not been.
Oh, they're terrible.
Yeah, I was going to say all that well the past few years. But
you're trying to be nice.
I am, because Preston Stone's there. But
no longer a friend of the program. But that's fine.
But still, I kind of just feel like there's things leading up to this, and obviously they just need that tipping point, and obviously the loss to Northwestern, and then Aller goes down. They're like, you know what? Makes more sense. Just go ahead and do it now.
Yeah, I'm with you. No, good stuff. James Franklin fired. I know someone mentioned the Discord we need to do, and we're getting to that point of the season. I hate to do this kind of show, but coaching carousel, because this offseason might be nuts. I mean, we're talking about in terms of some high-profile jobs, places with established, revenue sharing and NIL opportunities that are going to be wide open for any suitor. So we're going to talk about another potential option here in just a second. But before we do, let's talk about our friends over at All Natural BS. Look, it's the bug spray that really, really works. Patio, tailgate, go into the park with your kids. Whatever it is, you make sure you want to protect your kids. You don't want all those chemicals. You don't want all that stuff to be kind of messing with, all the just nasty stuff that's in what's in the big box stores. You want to be checking out our friends over at All Natural BS. It is a effective chemical-free solution for your home, garden, patio, tailgate, birthday party. Look, we saw a lot of people congregated in Baton Rouge this weekend. Will and Gavin saw a lot of people congregated over there in Auburn, Alabama. Make sure you're keeping yourself here into this mosquito season there as well with All Natural BS. All right, let's bring it back out. Here we go. Let's
get it over with.
Let's get it over with. I want to set the stage for you in this, and I know we got to talk about the winners before we talk about the losers. And Will even thought he might wake up this morning and still maybe consider himself a winner, but he's not. He's not. The news did not drop of a head coaching change on the Plains. That's what I was doing there. Look, we can, honest to God, focus on this game for a really long time. I know a lot of people want to hear about this. It is not only a game that means a lot to the people on our show, but it's also a game that was the center of national attention for a plethora of reasons this weekend. Will, I'm going to start off with this. You may not want to start here. I didn't get to watch the game in real time, right? I've got it on the side screen on my computer, watching in the press box at LSU, and I can't hear the commentators and all this kind of stuff. So I'm just kind of glancing back and forth. And then Ralph and I this morning kind of watched like a extended highlights version, about like 20, 25 minutes of the game. Look, officiating in the SEC is horrible. Auburn has been the recipient of 2 really, really bad games. We can concede that point. The fumble play, on the goal line. This was my school of thought, and we can have a debate on this, is that bottom line, whatever the call on the field was, it was going to be very hard to overturn. Now, that's based off of what I saw. There might be angles that show something different that I didn't see, but that's just based off what I would go off of. The penalties after that allowed Georgia to go get, 3 points before the half.
Yeah.
Look, I hate it. You know this, Will. I hate targeting. I can't stand the principle of where that penalty is. It needs to be revisited. It needs to be looked at in the offseason. It kind of felt like things snowballed. And then Auburn players even said post-game that, it just kind of took the life out of them. And I get that. That's unfair. But this second half wasn't because you had penalties and things like that. And I think you do agree with that. That end of the first half was a nightmare for Auburn fans. But you still had 30 more minutes to play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you ran under 20 plays. You can't do that. I mean,
15
it's
yards
crazy.
of offense in the second half. 15 yards of offense. And we're trying to blame officials. We're trying to blame the defense somehow when you only get 15 yards of offense in the second half. I can't. I've tried all day to try to put it into words, and I can't. You're going to hear me stuttering. You're going to hear me mumbling. You're going to see me spitting, firing. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I can't understand it, and I can't understand how Auburn is continuing to let this go on. I mean, I've heard from several people that cover Auburn. Admittedly, they were bullish, to be fair, on Hugh Freeze from the beginning. But the point being, very early on if a coach is going to make it in the SEC, right? You probably know it after about 4 or 5 conference games, whether this guy can have success or will have success. We haven't seen that with Hugh Freeze. This is the 3rd straight season Auburn starts 0-3 in SEC play. That has never happened in the history of Auburn football. Never. There are so many things that I've had to say in the last 5 years to say, and that's never happened in the history of Auburn football. And they've been playing football in Auburn for 140 years.
Yeah.
I mean, this is truly the dark ages of Auburn football. And you're gonna have to keep me on track because I'll just rant. What are you talking about next?
No, I mean,
go ahead.
I told Bryce I wanted to kind of write something about this game because I kind of wanted. I tweeted it out last night, and Bryce kind of used what I said. That the officiating this year has been bad.
Oh, across the board.
Across the board,
the
it's
worst
been
part
bad.
of the SEC is the officiating.
And I said Auburn's just been just part of 2 bad games, and it kind of sucks. But what we're talking about here is the second half, which is pitiful. It's a straight up pitiful performance, and it's disappointing that has a team that has, across the board, so much talent. No matter where you look at it, I mean, they got guys who could go play and would start at any other program. I feel like and one of the best receivers in the country.
Yeah,
and you have 15 yards of offense. Now, you can't. I don't sit here and say there's a focus point on what was so bad on the offense. It was just bad in general. Like the whole entire offense is bad. It wasn't just the offensive line this time. It wasn't just Jackson Arnold this time. There was no blocking. There was the Arnold couldn't commit a pass. It was just bad in general. I didn't like the play call in the second half, and I know you didn't like it because for one, and this is how I picked up on real fast that Will was not happy. We didn't hear from him the entire game.
We didn't.
My phone was dead.
Okay.
But still.
Because Gavin's at the game too, and he's texting, and I was like, oh, this might not be
But Will
good.
did say this, so I sat down and did not say a word the rest of the game. He said, which I can agree. Will, you had to be disappointed, not just in the performance, but the overall just like, I put it out on Monday that you're facing a team that is the best team in the country, in my opinion, and making second half adjustments. Kirby is one of the best to do it. Glenn Schumann is a great job. He does a great job at it too. But look, you didn't adjust to anything in the second half. Now, I mean, Georgia couldn't stop much in the first quarter, first two drives, but you had to assume they're going to adjust to that. So you have to adjust, and they just don't do it. And it's been like this for 3 years. When Peyton Thorne was here, I know he wasn't great, but it's just the same offense goes out there in the second half, and they just expect it to work again. I don't understand why that happens every week.
The offense is archaic, right? And
yes.
I said this in the Discord earlier today. I spent a few minutes in there. Y'all know how much time I spent in there.
Yeah.
Comparing Auburn's offense to Georgia Tech's, Hugh Freeze to Buster Faulkner. The offense is just, it's bad. It's bad from a scheme perspective. It's bad from a play calling perspective. It's just bad. I mean, I'm having to compose myself because
no, I think you should be able to
let
loose a little
ready
bit
because I don't know what I could say.
If you could tame yourself a little bit, I think you should let loose. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. No.
Contain the words that you want to use,
right,
but let loose, honestly.
Yeah, like I said, I've been trying all day to try to put it into words, and it's difficult. It doesn't make sense. You talk about the offensive line. You're gonna be surprised to hear me say this. I think this is one of the best games Auburn's offensive line has played all year. I thought they looked good, especially early in the game. Of course, Georgia adjusted, taking away the inside run. And here we are again, the third game in a row. Hugh Freeze saying, maybe I should have stuck with the outside run more. All these things that Hugh Freeze is saying, maybe this, maybe that, maybe that. He is the head coach. He is the play caller. He is the one that can control all these things. So why is he asking the questions?
Yeah.
That's what I can't understand. I've said it for the last 3 years. Every time there's a microphone in front of him, he puts his foot in his mouth. He did it again last night after the game. He did it on the field during the game, and I understand his emotions were high, so I'll give him a little bit of a pass because he did have to stop himself. I don't know if y'all saw that.
I did see that. Yeah.
I want to know what he wanted to say because it was going to be.
I'd like to hear what John Cohen said at halftime because that was comical.
That's a weird look.
Well, yeah, and Will, we talked about it after the game where we texted about it. He backs him up a little bit in the situation, and going forward, that doesn't look great because
that not only is Hugh Freeze's job on the line, John Cohen's job is on the line too, and that's just the reality. And
if this is the week by week outcome, and this is what it's come to it, and this is what he's backing, then Will's 100% right that Cohen's job is on the line too, because right now you're not doing anything to help this program out going forward by letting him stay.
Well, I guess that's my next question. I want to talk, I guess, because we're going to go big picture here. We're going to talk about not just, I know you said you wanted to record something later this week, but not just this game, like within the scope of this game. Look, we came into this game saying, and I know I made people laugh about it, but I didn't think Auburn had one distinct advantage on the field. Now, I want to push back against my opinion. They did. It was Cam Coleman against Dalen Everett.
Yeah,
they had that. They have the receiver. So that's – but Ralph mentioned that. I said I didn't think they had the quarterback to be able to do that. Well, I went back and watched that first drive. Am I crazy for saying that might have been one of the more well-orchestrated drives in Hugh Freeze's tenure as Auburn's head coach?
That was the best drive in three years. In 18 games, 19 games, I guess. That was the best drive of offense. It was – Greg McElroy said on the broadcast, I went back and watched it like y'all did, tendency breakers, all drive long.
Mm-hmm.
This will surprise you. I watched Brooks Austin's recap, part of his recap. He was on the field during the game, so he got to talk to folks on the sidelines during the game. And Kirby Smart said it after the game. They saw things that were not in Auburn's offense. It was almost a completely new offense, that opening drive, and that they came up with in 2 weeks. And Brooks Austin brings up a great point. Why couldn't Hugh Freeze have done that all summer? Why couldn't he have done that in between the Iron Bowl last year and the start of spring practice? Like, why can't you do that? You can't keep running the same offense you've been running for 20 years because everybody's seen it, right?
Yeah.
You can't. Go ahead.
This isn't 2015 Ole Miss.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing,
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't want to say he was cutting edge, but Hugh Freeze was a part of this forefront of this new offense.
Didn't
scheme
that
that was
Ole Miss
happening.
team go 5-7 and it had DK Metcalf and like 3 or 4 other starters.
A.J.
in the NFL,
Brown.
and they couldn't
Didn't
go.
Metcalf like break his leg that year though? And then
That was
he broke his leg.
2014.
That was
2014.
14.
That was Chris Frost snapping femurs. That's what we do at Auburn.
Oh my god!
Well, we know Will doesn't have a regard for player safety.
Yeah, we got tagged in that video.
We did. So I guess we agree on the fact that this was one of the more well called game drives. My thing is I think you're seeing and I told Ralph and Gavin this after the game. You are seeing a perfect example of a head coach who has no idea what to do right now off script. Like when you script out, because so people don't know, like you go in with a game plan and you can make adjustments within it, but typically, let's just throw it out there. Your first 2 or 3 drives are scripted out. Maybe you script out the entire first quarter, whatever it may be. That second half, it really looked like, and I hate to say this because you've got kids that are battling, and I see some people talking about this, like Eric Singleton, it did a good job. I thought they utilized him in that first drive very well. Like a lot of the stuff that you've seen work against Georgia in the past, they did. When it got to the second half, I didn't know if they had just given up. I didn't know if they had just said, well, we're just like, what was the point?
Brooks Austin said that in his recap. Auburn fumbling at the goal line and the just mass confusion that ensued after that. The Auburn sideline was defeated. It was done. It was chaos on the sideline. They were done. And that to me is the telltale sign that it is over for Hugh Freeze at Auburn.
Yeah.
In the middle of the game that you are winning, you're up 10-0. You let one play break you in the first half.
Yeah.
And then you let Georgia start inside their own 1 yard line. They run a sneak for a yard and then bust off a 12-yard run. And here we go. It's off to the races.
Yeah.
For Georgia. You can't, that is on leadership. That's on the head coach. At least on the offensive side of the ball, we've seen this every game. You talk about it. He scripts well. They script well. He can't go off script. But anytime there's any bit of adversity, anytime the defense has an answer for what Auburn's going to do and stops Auburn offensively, they shut down. It's mentally weak. This Auburn offense is mentally weak, and that starts at the top. Normally, I would say offensive coordinator, but when your head coach is acting as the offensive coordinator, that's who you have to go to. He's the one calling the plays. And he, right now, don't know the reason, but at least in the middle of football games, when there is adversity for his offense, Hugh Freeze is mentally weak. He cannot come up with an answer. He can't do it. And I don't like being absolute saying somebody can't do something just because they haven't. It's been 19 games. It's been or what is he? We've got the graphic. I'll just pop it up.
Yeah, go ahead and throw it up there.
14 and 17. What's that? 20.
30, that's 31.
31 games. He hasn't done it in 31 games. He hasn't done it. And these numbers should not be, really have never been synonymous with Auburn football. 14 and 17 overall, 5 and 14 in the SEC, 7 and 16 against Power 4 opponents, 9 and 9 at home. I said this last week because Bryce, you wanted to bring it up. Jordan-Hare Stadium at night, it's crazy, it's magic, blah, 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 blah. Auburn has to be good for that to matter. Auburn has to be good at home. They've got the talent now, but they're lacking in the coaching. So I told you Thursday or Wednesday, whatever night it was, we talked about it. That even doesn't matter. I don't even call that an advantage. And that atmosphere was the best that I've seen in several years. Of course, it was a huge night, retiring Cam Newton's jersey. Everybody's amped up. But 9 and 9 at home, and everybody talks about how tough a place it is, and Kirby Smart joked about it because they put him on the video board at SEC Media Days while they're playing Georgia. That I didn't understand that in the moment. I'm like, we're playing Georgia, right? Why are you're giving the guy that will take a freaking molehill of bulletin board material and turn it into Mount Everest. And you're giving him bulletin board material in the game. And he joked about it after the game, and he should.
He did.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. And he's asking all these questions that he has the answers to, that he's the one that can change it.
Yeah.
He's one. I listened to the post game radio stuff after the game, and the things that I heard, the interviewed players, interviewed Champ Anthony, captain of the team, defensive back. After the game, he and some of the other leaders on the team stepped up and are calling out their teammates. If you don't want to be here, leave. Number one, why is a player having to do that at this point? Right? I mean, you would think the assumption is everybody wants to be there. These are all Hugh Freeze's players. They all signed up to play for him. Why would they not want to be there? And if we're in the middle of the year and we've got players addressing the team saying, if you don't want to be here, leave, that's an even bigger problem.
Well, that's a culture problem. I mean, that's
You're right. It's a culture problem. And there's a lot of bad. Nearly everything I've heard from what I watched in the game from about the midway point in the second quarter to everything I've heard since then, it's time to pull the plug. It's time. This is not Hugh. I don't think Hugh Freeze can perform a miracle here. Right. I don't think he can fix this and get another season. I don't. I mean, and we talked about it coming into the year. This 3-game stretch is going to be the toughest 3-game stretch of the year for Auburn. If Auburn's 3-3, that's the expectation. If they're 4-2, great. If they're 5-1, oh my gosh. If they're 6-0, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
If Auburn could score 23 points in any of the last 3, if they could have scored 23 points against Georgia, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Auburn is 6-0. Auburn is 6-0.
There's a team close here that's the same way.
Yeah, I feel like I'm talking about LSU a little bit
that
too.
That was mentioned about 4 times on Saturday.
But the difference is LSU's 5-1. I mean, and I'm not trying to make a point here, but that's just the difference. And so we're splitting this into 2. That's really the conversation about the game. And you kind of went here with this in terms of what's next. I mean, look, I've been doing this show in terms of that and covering obviously Georgia Tech, and we had a situation where you had a head coach where it obviously came to the point where you're like, hey, this needs to happen. We're not in the business or try to do that because we love to build relationships with people about not calling for people's heads on a platter. That's not what we're trying to do. But Will, the evidence is so outstanding at this point. And I like what you said. You're 31 games into this. This isn't a small sample size. This is just who Hugh Freeze is
not a guy
right now.
That is a first time in the SEC, first time with a big job. This is not a. Give me an example. This is not a Eric Morris at North Texas, right?
Yeah, it's not a G5 guy jumping to the Power 4 rankings and getting his first. You know, he came from the G5 spot, but he was at Ole Miss for what, 9 years, maybe less than that, maybe.
Probably like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. Okay.
This is not somebody learning on the job. He's not learning on the job.
Did you just see what Ralph did? 6'7".
Look, Bryce has been doing it all weekend. I don't want to hear it.
No, but to your point, he's not learning on the job. But at this point, what are you learning? I mean, you have shown that you can't adapt. You have shown, and Sam says, right, this isn't Jeremy Pruitt. Like that's honestly a pretty good example. It's not a first-time head coach in the SEC. 6'7" mentioned, you know it right there. But I think that with Hugh Freeze and what you have at Auburn is now you're in a predicament, right? Because hey, God, well, this is where it's hard to talk about because we just got to talk about Penn State and what you have going forward and what you could do. Man, now you've got a situation to where I really do believe this about Auburn. They're not perfect. The roster has deficiencies. Heck, everybody has deficiencies. There's probably maybe 1 or 2 teams this year that you look and say, man, it's really hard to find a hole in that roster. So it's not like Auburn is, tens of miles away from where they need to be. I do believe to an extent they're a couple of things away from being a really good team, a top 15 team in the country. The problem is I think the coaching is holding them back. So how do you go about this? Because if you let Hugh Freeze go, and I don't think you need to sabotage your program to keep players. You can't do that. That's unfair to the kids. It's unfair to the donors and everything like that. How far do you think this roster falls? Like what is the domino effect? Let's just say hypothetically, Auburn hosts Missouri, this team. Gavin hates Missouri, Mid-Missouri as he calls them. But let's say Drinkwitz and them come back for a bounce back game. They've got a good run game. They establish something early in there, and they win it. I don't think that would blow anybody away if Missouri came in and beat Auburn. Let's say that happens.
Vegas would be surprised. Auburn's a
yeah,
3-point
Vegas would be
favorite.
surprised. Yeah, Vandy's also a 2.5-point favorite right now over LSU. But to your point, if they let's say next Sunday we're sitting here, we're talking about Hugh Freeze being fired. What is like the realistic domino effect if that happens? Because that to me is where you're talking about, okay, can you hold it together to enough to where you can go get like an established coach somewhere or a really good G5 coach, i.e. the guy we saw Thursday night, who can come in and have a win now opportunity? Or do you have to reset this thing to where next year's year 0 or next year's year 1? So what's the domino effect? I guess that was a long-winded way of me asking that.
I certainly think that Auburn could hold things together for the most part. I think your uber talented, your NFL guys. Keldrick Faulk going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Eric Singleton out of eligibility going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Cam Coleman hitting the portal. I don't see him sticking around because all but one guy that I want, which my list is short, all but one I think wouldn't really be able to bring in a quarterback that would be a slam dunk, no doubt upgrade over what Auburn has. And there's a lot of unknown. Like we don't really know what Deuce Knight is. He's appeared in one game and it wasn't great. So, but that's not a knock on him. He's just not ready. He's a true freshman.
Mm-hmm.
No, Sam, Alex Kolsch is not the guy to go get right now. Not for Auburn. Because Auburn needs a big time reset, which that'll be its own video, and I'll tell you just how cultish Auburn is for that one.
Yeah,
but I think Auburn can hold it together. It would certainly take Auburn getting a guy that is excitable and that players want to play for to do that for the ones coming back. I don't know, but because I'm thinking about this staff and I'm thinking about like, well, who could possibly even get retained? I don't know if anybody does, to be honest.
Even Durkin?
Yeah, I was about to say, what if Durkin gets named interim?
I think that's a given.
The team kind of, let's say, turns around for the last few games of the season, and they get an upset win. In the middle of the season, and he throws his hat in the ring at the end of the season and say, "Look, give me a chance."
Yeah.
I could see a lot of these guys staying for him. I mean, now I know offensively, maybe not so many guys but like defensive line, you're going to keep some people, all right? You're going to keep some people alive and around. I feel like, and you're going to keep and retain them.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. I mean, if Durkin's the guy and he stays around and does a pretty good job, I would see that happening.
Well, if Auburn gets my number one choice, which is a guy y'all got to watch last week, DJ Durkin will not be back. I agree.
No, he'll bring his guys with him.
Yeah,
and
he'll bring somebody else.
And when you text us during the game and you said like, if this is how it is, I don't want them. But if you watched that post game press conference, he was pissed. Voice was gone.
I sent you a couple weeks ago after their game against Tulane his comments. And I was like, this is how you hold your players accountable without throwing them under the bus.
Yeah.
It was refreshing to hear for me. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, another thing that I heard last night from someone on a podcast, somebody that's covered Auburn for 30, 35 years. Because they're kind of weighing up the pros and cons of what benefit do you have of keeping Hugh Freeze? You might think recruiting, but any coach that has tried to recruit at Auburn in the last 30, 35 years that these people have been covering them, they've recruited at a high level, top 10, top 15 every year. If you just try, that's why it's been said, and Auburn recruits itself. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Like everything is there for Auburn to be successful. Everything is there for the next head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So you put that in perspective, which is something I hadn't thought of. What good is it keeping him? And I'd say that to tie back in that I think that Auburn and it's culture, and everybody says if you love Auburn, Auburn will love you back. Those players that love Auburn and are playing for Auburn, they are feeling the love back. And that's part of the reason why your Champ Anthony's, your other leaders are getting up in front of the team and saying, if you don't want to be here, go.
Yeah.
Get out, because we don't want you here. Nobody wants you around, not just the team, the people, the community. So there's going to be some that stay, and I think there's going to be some contributors that stay, and they won't just be staying because they don't have anywhere to go.
I want to get to this comment because I'm literally showing Bryce, but I don't want to talk about the referees. I know we don't want to talk about referees, but like what Zach said here is true. You had all the ammo in the world at halftime to get those guys fired up. To say, look, man, they're not helping us win this game. We got to help ourselves. We got to do it ourselves. You got to go out there and do it, though. I can't do it for you right now. If you don't want to go out there and hit him in the mouth the first play and just show up in the second half and win this game, then don't come out here. But none of that was shown, obviously. But obviously, you don't see halftime speeches, or you occasionally
get play like it. That's the biggest thing.
But you don't get the halftime speeches like on Twitter. Now there's an occasion that one person in the locker room who videos it. We've seen that in the past. But
get it on Auburn Plus, isn't that right, Gavin?
Yeah. But they didn't come out at halftime and play like their heads are on fire. They just played like it was just they were rolled over. Honestly, that's the best way to put it, Will. I mean, they rolled over the second half and just let Georgia do whatever they wanted to do to them. Yeah. And just they ran the ball on them, short passes. Gunnar Stockton looked just efficient in all ways. It was a pitiful performance.
I guess, Will, I don't want you to go too long in terms of this because I want to get to other stuff. I guess wrapping it up, we obviously say Hugh Freeze has to go. I mean, this experiment is over. You've got to reinvigorate this program.
The fan base. I mean,
the fan base to extend as well.
I pretty much knew that what the outcome of the game was going to be after that fumble and subsequent drive to kick the field goal, because I'd seen it before. Watching the second half was death by 1,000 cuts. When Gunnar Stockton hit the long, deep crosser to
Noah Thomas, I
sat down. I was like, this game is over. This game is over because Auburn's going to do nothing on offense. Georgia's going to punch it in, and they're going to – and Auburn was winning at that point.
Yeah.
It was still 10-3, and I sat down. I said, this game is over, because that's what I have seen the 30 games prior.
I mean, I'll end it with this. You got to
reinvigorate the fan base, and you got to be careful when you read online, because it's like anything else. That's a small minority, but the life was sucked out of that stadium when Stockton hit that long pass to Noah Thomas.
Yeah. I'll end it here, and we'll move on to other topics. Third downs in the second half, Auburn, 0 of 6. Total yardage in the second half was 40 yards, 11 carries for 0.9 yards per carry. They went 5 of 12 through the air for 30 yards. They ran 23 plays in the second half. That's unbelievable. 1.7 yards per play. Time of possession in the second half, Georgia 22, Auburn 7. Nearly 8 minutes.
Talk about flipping the script. Georgia did it in the second half.
Yeah.
Auburn, 11 penalties for 90 yards. I believe this is what I read. I know I read it, but I believe this is accurate. Auburn is the first SEC team since 2018 to have double-digit penalties in 3 straight games.
I'm going to ask you this one time. You can answer it, and we can move on. After everything we've sat here for 20 minutes and discussed, you don't blame the refs for this loss?
No, not a chance. They were bad. They're awful. Yeah. And, I love to put my tinfoil hat on. Something's up. I felt it on the opening drive with the 2 review stoppages for the Cam Coleman, which was incomplete. Good stoppage. But the Jackson Arnold run I thought was confusing when he got the first down. I said it then. I was like, Auburn's driving. Let's go give Georgia 2 free timeouts. Funny enough, Georgia got another one late in the game. So, and from the SEC's point of view, we've said this before. I get it. You want as many teams in the playoff as possible. This felt like one of those games, and it felt like it against Oklahoma, felt like it against Texas A&M. The SEC either does not want or does not think that Auburn is a playoff team. So we're going to help the other teams get in the playoffs. but just
Yeah.
the way the games are officiated, you know, you can say, in fact, I've had people say this to me, he's like, you got to have so many people buy off on that. All you got to do is have the officials. And who's signing their checks? The SEC office. It's either that or another theory. Greg Sankey doesn't like Hugh Freeze and doesn't like that he's back in the SEC, and Auburn's caught in the middle of it because Auburn hired him.
Yeah.
Because remember, that was a saga for several years about him coming back to the SEC. And he somewhat advised Nick Saban not to hire him as his offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So
I guess
not going to blame the refs, not going to blame the SEC, because Auburn at the end of the day has got to play better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's got. I'll say it. If nobody else is going to say it, I'll say it. Auburn's got to play better.
Yeah, and they have for 3 straight weeks.
Yep.
That's a good point. A good point to put it right there. Spent a lot of time on that, but I like how he split that up into 2 different parts. Talking about 2 different parts, they've added 2 more. Section 103 is the place to go for all of your college apparel needs. They've got the polos, which we're putting out right now. It's the Georgia Tech. It's the LSU. But you know what? They got a 6-0 Georgia Tech team, a 5-1 LSU team, and they've got a 4-2 Kennesaw State team whose only 2 losses are to Power 4 teams. We don't have to talk about Georgia Southern, but they're still doing that as well. So make sure you check them out. Use code TCB10 for 10% off your order today. Proud to partner with them. 5 straight years partnering with our friends over at Section 103. All right, real quick before we get out of here, let's talk about Indiana. Are the Hoosiers elite? Curt Cignetti is a heck of a football coach. Love him or hate him. If you like the antics, if you don't, here are his stats. Will, since you assisted in making this graphic, we'll put that term loosely.
I only assisted in the Hugh
Freeze one. Hoosiers are elite. Indiana's 2-0 against top 25 opponents this season, 2-2 under Cignetti. They're beating opponents by an average of 33.5 points. They held Oregon to 26 points below their average. Now, Oregon had not played really anybody outside of Penn State before this game. But I do sit here and say that Indiana is essentially saying, yeah, remember what y'all said about us last year? Well, we're going to go out here and show you. And Fernando Mendoza is the real deal.
Yeah.
I think he's firmly in the Heisman race. This is a guy who's also firmly in the conversation. And Will, I think you've mentioned this. Like, we kind of probably need to start having conversations about him as being one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks taken in the NFL draft next April. I mean, he's not just a system guy. Like, this guy's making plays. He's unlocked a dimension to Indiana's deep offense that I don't think they had last year. And it's not a knock against what they had. It's just he's just that much better. So is Indiana elite? We came out with our rankings today. In terms of that, I think Indiana, and Gavin, you can correct me when we compiled all of our polls. Indiana was 3rd. Yeah, Indiana was 3rd. So it went Ohio State, Miami, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, Georgia, Oregon, Georgia Tech, Tennessee, and LSU as our top 12 teams. Ralph, you're going to talk about it. I mean, Indiana's a good football team. They're playing like it, and I'm telling you, I don't want to go play Indiana. Like, if I'm a head coaching, I don't want to go play them under Curt Cignetti right now.
I mean, Cignetti was doing great at James Madison. I know this is a Group of 5 program, but getting them to the actual Group of 5 level, I guess, from where they were in FCS.
Yeah.
Came onto the scene and just kind of hit it hard.
Mm-hmm.
Made an impact, obviously, and his name was being thrown around there for some big name jobs. And after year 1 or after year 2 in James Madison, he was like, okay. Or when they made it to the FBS level, Indiana's job opens up, and they're kind of like, Indiana's not really a football team. We don't really known to beat anybody. They had a run in 2020 for a little bit, but we knew they weren't really going to be much of a program killer. But they go get Cignetti, give him the big job he kind of has earned, and they hit it hard the first season, and it was crazy. We joked about it last year, saying that they didn't really play anybody. The hardest they played was Ohio State. Got beat pretty bad, made the playoff, got beat by Notre Dame in that playoff game. Just wasn't really there offensively, and what was their bounce back going to be like? They brought some transfers in, kept some guys from leaving, and man, the turnaround was 10 times better than I expected it to be. Yeah. And that goes to saying that's just really what Cignetti's done there. Yeah. And it's full props to him. Obviously, you got some great leaders on that team, and Mendoza's been terrific this year. But really, it starts and begins with the head coach, and Cignetti is that guy, and he has been a stellar performer, on this level. And he's not really one that, is on the field and makes a lot of antics. He controls the game, but he's not, he's not. I want to say my dad used the word today. He's not theatric.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah,
not flailing arms. He just kind of just goes out there and coaches.
Yeah. Will, when you look at Indiana, and Ralph kind of hit it on the head there. I mean, I don't want to go there and play them, and I don't want them to come to my house and play. Like, they are strictly business. Everything they do right now is a business trip. And look, we really like Dan Lanning. We really like Oregon. I still think Oregon's really good. I think Indiana might just be that good.
They're certainly better than they were last year.
Yeah.
I think that's easy to say. And it's I think it's really a testament to what can be done in this era of college football, right? You can turn things around pretty much overnight. Even at a place like Indiana that's really never done anything in football since Lee Corso was coaching there.
Yeah.
I mean, 60 years they've done basically nothing until Kurt Signetti. So, to me, being an outside observer, having to experience what I got to experience, I don't know why coaches are making excuses.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't get it. But yeah, Indiana's elite. I mean, they're going to be. They cemented their spot in the playoff unless they just fall off a cliff the last 6 games of the year. They've got a shot. I mean, they're in the driver's seat.
It's a wide open shot, Will.
Yeah,
it's pretty. I mean,
they're in the driver's seat to make the Big Ten title game now, beating Oregon. So I mean, they're elite. They're one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, I got Indiana's schedule right here. It's host Michigan State, host UCLA, go to Maryland, go to Penn State.
Don't hate on Jerry Neuheil.
Yeah, but we're talking about Indiana here. This ain't Penn State.
UCLA.
They go to Penn State, host Wisconsin, and they go to Purdue at the end of the year. I mean, if on paper,
in all those games,
exactly. Yeah. Well, you're 100% right.
By at least a touchdown,
or I mean, probably more. A lot of these games. I mean, I'd probably give them 10+ against Penn State this year. But like it's proven. You said it, real. They've submitted themselves to the playoff run. The whole season's right there for the taking. The undefeated season is there. The chance to play Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship is there. The matchup they're going to want, they're going to get. And it's, I don't know whose favor is going to go into, but it come to that day. But, Indiana is looking like they're not scared of anybody.
I guess that when we sit here and we talk about Indiana and what they're doing, I mean, it's hats off, like you said, Will. I think you said it pretty well. Like, how quickly he has gotten these guys to believe in his plan and what he does. I think he's real and authentic. And like I said, I mean, when he does these interviews, people say, oh, that's brash or it was. But you know what? When you're inside that locker room, what have we talked about? Like, at the end of the day, no matter what people like us say in the podcast world, where sports media say, fans say on social media, what matters is what those guys in that locker room believe. You can't care about the external factors, the external expectations. But when it comes to essentially what you have, 105 guys, support staff, trainers, all those other people, your entire program has to be moving in the right direction. Indiana's program is moving as a cohesive unit. Everybody involved, from the guy driving the bus to Fernando Mendoza. Everyone is moving where they need to go. And I think it's why they're one of the best programs in the country right now.
Yeah, you said it. It's literally like it's a business over there, and they're running it really well.
Buddy, I still can't believe they beat Illinois as bad as they did. Illinois is not a bad football team, but it just shows you how good Indiana is.
Well, I'll tell you, their 2 performances against really good teams has not gone well for them, for Illinois.
Oh, no.
They've really just missed opportunities.
Well, they did play a team that's a 2.5-point favorite over Georgia Tech this weekend, so we'll see how that goes.
Some programs claim to stand on business, others do.
That's fair.
That's great.
All right, before we get out of here, best bets recap. Will.
I think it's best if we don't get into that.
Okay.
I agree, Will.
Okay. Hey, LSU, South Carolina under, baby. So let's roll. Ralph and I are tied now. Will is in sole possession of second place. Isn't that right, Will? Sole possession of second place.
I'm the diet started a couple weeks ago in preparation because there's no way. But I think we're going system plays the rest of the year. So go ahead and put it on the spreadsheet, Dr. Bob. Mizzou +3. Missouri +3. Go ahead and put it on the spreadsheet.
I love it.
I got killed by the hook once again this year.
Second time for you, right?
Second time this year, man. I had Alabama -3.5. They win by 3. Just backdoor me once again. I can't get away from it. Also hooked for the Oregon Northwestern game. I had 48.5. They scored 48. It's painful to watch.
Ken says ask Chat GPT, Will.
Why not? Can't be worse.
I have friends that have tried that. It doesn't work.
What a show. What a show. We'll talk more later in the week about that depth in the SEC. Obviously, Texas with the win over Oklahoma. Should have John Mateer have even played? I don't know. I think Oklahoma's still very much alive because, like you said today, Ralph, I don't think that was the best version of Oklahoma in terms of what they want to do. But Texas is back, I guess.
I did say, and I wanted to tell Will.
Or another day, another Ralph comment.
Yeah, there you go. I wanted to say that I know we were trying to get moved on from this, but that wasn't the Oklahoma team we've seen all year long. 100% was not. And
No.
I said, I don't know if I told you this or I told somebody this earlier. I said, why not just try Hawkins out there? I mean, the worst thing he's going to do is, just as bad as Mateer's been playing today. I mean,
that's a problem across college football. I've been watching that product for the past same conversation. For the past
well, I know,
weeks.
but he played last week for you, and obviously it was not a good team. But you put 48 points on the board. Go let him run out there and play. I mean, Mateer obviously can't make the throws. He's hurting. That was obvious. I was disappointed in the play calling and in the ability to coach that game by Venables. They're not that bad of a team. Plus, to Texas's point, their defense put them in that spot the entire game. The special teams touchdown.
Yeah.
Defense played great, and I just think Oklahoma's offense didn't help out.
Breaking news here in the podcast, Key to Success comments. Just saw Fox Sports. Ralph is Penn State's next head coach. Has anyone told him yet? I don't think his agent's even called. So he's taking a phone call right now. He's muted. You got to love it. But, yeah, no, it's college football season. We're excited to –
Yeah, I told him
he said tell him no. We're excited to keep talking. We'll be back on Wednesday night previewing Week 8. Will, I'm excited to see what you cook up in terms of what you got coming here down the pipeline. Where is Auburn headed? Maybe a state of the program, if you will, about what's happening and what needs to happen going forward. But a crazy, crazy weekend, and we only covered 3 aspects of it, right? I mean, there are just so many big storylines coming out of this. Troy with a big win in San Marcos.
Look, man, that's three comeback wins for them this year, and I'm happy with it.
You need to be careful about what you're saying.
I don't care, dude.
Jared Parker stock is rising.
Hey, 4-2, man.
Don't.
Hey,
Troy, Kennesaw State in the Crampton Bowl. I'm there.
I put a public apology out to Tucker Kilcrease yesterday. I had to admit it.
I don't even know if people know who that is, but yeah,
that's fine. Troy's quarterback. I thought he'd been playing bad all year. It turned out he's playing the best. He was the best quarterback on yesterday. So
no comment on Georgia Tech. Stan, we're going to be live tomorrow talking about that one. Georgia Tech is got a big one. Go ahead.
Georgia Tech was a 14.5-point favorite, and they won by 15. Met expectations.
Hey, good teams win, Will. What do great teams do?
They cover.
That's
but
right.
Hey, it should be no surprise. The GOAT was in attendance. Hall of Famer Coach Paul Johnson.
Yeah, there's a picture Georgia Tech posted, by the way, with Paul Johnson and Brent Key, and I was like, Will would take either of those guys right now, probably. It is what it is.
Auburn got a national championship, but that small part of me wishes Auburn would have hired Paul Johnson in 2009.
Going back to Stan's, no comment Georgia Tech. Big one this weekend, man. You're a road dog at Duke. I think that's going to be a really great game. Might be one of the best games.
Noon kickoff, too.
Might be a great one.
What a great job.
Is it on the CFB?
Oh, God, I hope not.
Probably is.
Probably won't be able to watch it. So there you go. Dev will have to stream it live on the – Dev, I'll give you the login to the Crowded booth, and you just stream it from your phone at the game. Just do that. We appreciate everyone watching. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Sunday night. My name is Bryce Koon. That is Ralph Leary right next to me. Hillary's over here working the P's and Q's, studying for God knows what so she can make money, so we do this thing. Will is hanging out at home, and Gavin is in the dungeon somewhere. There you go. Breaking news. Ralph is a Nittany Lion. We appreciate you. Thanks so much for watching.
What the heck is a Nittany Lion?
I have no idea.
I'm looking at
I don't know. You are a Nittany Lion. That's what it is.
At heart.
Make sure that tonight that you have breath and you praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Because Ralph did tonight. We appreciate it. We all did. Thanks so much. We'll catch you next time. Oh, by the way, Addie's no longer undefeated.
Yeah.
But I had someone text and said the refs took it away from her, so it didn't count. Does she get a mulligan? She's 7-1. We'll be all right. We'll
7-1's still pretty solid.
It is. We'll see you later.
That game.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The crowded booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.